Come on, you gotta review Joy this way. You gotta have sunglasses on. You gotta have the Robert De Niro voice. You gotta have, all this going on. You gotta have the transitions of a David O. Russell movie in this. Come on, you just gotta review the movie this way. I don't know, Robert De Niro. I mean, I like to review movies the way I like to review them. I don't want to be able to just go from transition to transition in the same spot and then go to in the next person and then make connections and see how it connects. And I just want to review the movies the way I want to review movies. Well, come on, it's a David O. Russell film. It's the big Christmas release. It's a new David O. Russell film. It's potential for Oscars. You got to do it this way. I mean, come on, you got to do it this way. You go back and do your other movie. I'm going to review it the way I want to review it. So, hey guys, sorry for that weird little skit there. The reason for that is Robert De Niro's character wears sunglasses throughout the movie of Joy, the film I'm going to review for you today. It's the new David O. Russell film, and it's about the real life entrepreneur Joy Mangano, who created the Miracle Mop, which later resulted in her working on other big household products that were sold on television. Another product that she invented was the fuzzy coat hangers. You might see that in stores every once in a while. That was something that she came up with. So that was my little skit at the beginning. Sorry if that was too weird for anybody. But in the movie, you guys, of Joy, this is a film about Jennifer Lawrence, who is Joy Mangano in the movie, and she is a struggling single mother, and she's going from job to job to job. She has kids. She's divorced. Her parents are divorced. So not only does she realize how tough divorce can be, her parents are also divorced as well, so she saw it through them. Her grandmother was kind of her role model throughout her life, so they were more so the people that inspired her to do stuff more so than their parents, just because the parents were busy hating each other and doing their own little thing, and she really didn't have her parents to really guide her along in life. So basically, she comes up with this idea called the miracle mops, and she's at home a lot, and messes happen, and she's trying to figure out stuff of how to do things easier than just the typical mother would just mop up the floor and put it away. So she tries to come up with things that not only help her but would help other mothers across the world. And so she comes up with this miracle mop, and she thinks it'll really work. She thinks a lot of people will like it. She likes the idea of never having to buy another mop again, that you can still use this mop, just put the mop part in the washing machine and then clean it and then use it again like you would any other device in your home. And so basically, she tries to get this thing sold on television. She meets a business executive who her ex-husband introduced her to, who's played by Bradley Cooper, and it doesn't really sell on TV that well. And so she comes up with the idea, well, what if I sell it myself? What if instead of hiring models or people that try to use it on TV, what if I actually go on myself and show people how to use it and really try to inspire someone to go out and buy it? And so the film's about what she had to do to, make sacrifices, make financial sacrifices, put her mortgage in trouble just to get this mop out in the world and have it shown on TV to get people to buy it. So this film is all about her experience in becoming the successful entrepreneur that she still is to this day. So overall, guys, I like the film Joy. I don't think it's David O. Russell's best film. I will say this, though. I liked it better than American Hustle, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I know some people out there really like that one. And I also like it a little bit better than The Fighter. I know a lot of people really like that one, too. I personally liked it better than The Fighter. I think it's a better story. And I think it demonstrated what David O. Russell could do as a director a little bit more. So for my positives and negatives of the film Joy, I like how the film shows the ups and downs for creating and inventing something big, and how when you invent something big, it can really improve your life. But in things like finances and struggling to get it out there in the world and promoted, it also shows those downsides. It also shows just how difficult it can be when a product fails, when you put a lot of money into it and still people aren't really even buying it that much. So I like how the film shows that side of things. It shows how inventing something can both be huge and can kind of destroy your life if it's done the wrong way. Another positive of the movie is Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, and I think Virginia Madsen for me. Those were the performances that really stood out for me. This is a very performance-heavy movie. The performances are really good. But for me, like I said, Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, and Virginia Madsen were probably the better performances of the movie. They really seemed to understand who their characters were. There was, rules throughout the movie for those characters, so it's pretty consistent for what they can and can't do as characters in the movie. Really good performances. I also like the neat take that this film has on infomercials. We get to see when Jennifer Lawrence meets that business executive played by Bradley Cooper, just how infomercials are made, and what they have to do, what people they hire for them, how they go from one set to the next to get the next product advertised for another channel on TV. So I like how the film took on those. It really got me interested in how infomercials are handled, and David O. Russell did very good with that material in the movie. This film also has great set designs. Whether you're at home with Joy and her home's a mess and she's taking care of the kids and her parents or her ex-husband aren't helping her with anything, the sets, really demonstrate where the story is, where it's going. And like I said, some of those infomercial sets they use in the movie are also very impressive. It really does feel like something like out of the 80s or the 90s, because I think that's mostly where this film takes place, is within the 80s and the 90s. So just really great set designs here. There's also some really good child talent in the movie. The actress that plays Joy Mangano as a young girl before Jennifer Lawrence plays her, I thought she did very good. I also thought the girl that played Jennifer Lawrence's daughter was also very good in the movie too. Because with child talent, either you really get somebody really good like Macaulay Culkin, or you get someone who's not so good that just kind of disappears after one movie. Kind of like what happened with that kid from Last Airbender. I really don't see him in anything anymore. But I think this time around they definitely chose the right talent for the child actors. Specifically Jennifer Lawrence's daughter. She really was able to keep up with the A-list cast that this movie had. My next comment is more so a positive and a negative, just because I can see a lot of people either really hating this in the movie, and I can also see people like myself really liking this in the movie. And that's the transitions and flows in the movie. They kind of feel like a big stage, multi-set Broadway play. So you know how like in plays, like they get one set ready to go as one scene's finishing up, and the characters kind of stay in their spots, and there's something kind of somewhat clever going on that transitions into the next scene. I guess the best example of this is you hear a song in the background in one scene as Joy's going down into the basement, and it turns out that it's her ex-husband auditioning for this singing thing that he's going to be a part of. And so that song he's auditioning to sing with was the song in the previous scene. So by the time you go into the basement, that song's still playing, and we find out that it's him singing the whole time. So there's little things like that that kind of feel like something you would see in a play. So for me, it was a good thing just because I think it was really clever. It was kind of an interesting way to transition and flow into another scene of the movie. It does it more so in the first half. The second half doesn't do it as much. But for me, I liked it, but I can see how it can get on somebody's nerves as watching the movie, though, too. One negative I do have about Joy is I thought the first half of the movie was pretty sloppy and too quick for the most part. The film has so many ideas that it wants to provide in just the first half alone that it feels very quick when they're going over things. It just feels very sloppy. Like 1 second you're in Joy's home, and literally like no more than 2 minutes later you're at another place learning about something different. And so it's doing that a lot throughout the first half of the movie. And it's not until the Miracle Mop becomes a part of the story where the film has a clear focus of where it wants to go. So I would say every scene before the Miracle Mop is even in the movie, it is a little sloppy and things go over a little bit too quickly, so you really can't grasp on to anything within the first half of this movie that well, unfortunately. I also thought Joy had too many characters in it. There's a lot of characters in this movie that appear literally for no more than 5 seconds, and that's kind of too bad because you'd think with someone with this big success and, dealing with people in business that aren't good to her and people in business who are bad to her, people that the ex-husband introduces her to that help her get into this Miracle Mop television program and things like that. You think those characters would get more than just a quick little 5 second thing, and so unfortunately some of these characters really only get that long in the movie ever. And I think this film would have benefited from having less characters, really focusing on the Miracle Mop portion of Joy Mangano's life. It's fine if they want to, cover personal life stuff, but because there's so many characters thrown at this movie and characters that literally appear no more than 5 minutes in this movie, I think it's safe to say this film had way too many characters in it. Joy is also a film that I feel doesn't have much replay value. I really can't see myself watching this a second time. I think everything I liked from this movie, I got out of it from the first time. I really can't see myself getting more out of the movie a second time around. It's really not that kind of movie. So replay value wise, this film doesn't do that well with. There's also some flat humor in the movie. There's times in this movie where it's trying to become a comedy, and to me, some of those jokes really fell flat really badly. So in the jokes department, don't go in expecting a comedy. Go into this film expecting a drama, because when it comes to comedy, this film doesn't do it that well. There's also some random dream scenes throughout the movie. Joy's mother throughout the movie likes to watch soap operas and TV, and even the opening scene when you see the movie is very much about that. And it's kind of weird how they opened the movie with that. But there's random dream scenes where Joy envisions herself in a really bad soap opera, and she's kind of the victim to everybody in the show. And it just felt random and strange. It really had nothing to do with the actual movie. Like, not even the Miracle Mop appears in those scenes either, and it just feels random and strange. And I really don't understand why David O. Russell had those scenes in the movie, because like I said, I really feel like they're just there to be weird and strange, and they don't really contribute to the story that much. The film also sometimes feels overstuffed. That goes back to the first half where they really tried to cram in as much things as they possibly could in that first half. So by the time the Miracle Mop's in the movie, obviously, the focus is that, and it should be. But in that first half, they stuff a lot of material and they stuff a lot of things that are hard to remember by the time the film's over with, just because they go over it so quickly. And this film's only 2 hours in length, and obviously that second hour is very much about the Miracle Mop. But there's a lot of overstuffed material throughout the movie, and I think that unfortunately wears the film down a little bit. So overall, guys, I'm going to give the film Joy an 8 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. I think if you like David O. Russell, if you liked what he did with Silver Linings Playbook, or even if you liked American Hustle, I think you'll like this movie. Like I said, it's not his best movie, but I think it's better than some of his weaker films that he's done so far. So like I said, it shows the benefit of being an entrepreneur and the downsides of being an entrepreneur. Great performances. I like the take on infomercials. The transition and flows that feel like a Broadway play are both a good and a bad thing. I think some people are really going to hate it and some are really going to like it. But that first half is very sloppy, very overstuffed, feels too quick with its ideas. I think the film suffers from too many characters, not much replay value, those random dream scenes that really don't need to be in here, some flat jokes, and like I said, the film overall just feels a little overstuffed at times. So 8 out of 10, good movie. If you're like David O. Russell, if you're interested in learning more about Joy Mangano, the entrepreneur, it's not a bad way to watch a movie. So 8 out of 10, good movie, but not a great movie.